Welcome to the Catch Up with Claire. I'm your host, Claire Hoon, and every week we hand the mic to women who are showing up, speaking out, and figuring it out in real time. Because when women start talking, no topic is off limits. Careers, identity shifts, friendships, family dynamics, breakups, big dreams, bigger feelings, and yes, motherhood too. Think of it like calling your best friend on the landline in 1999. Lighthearted, unfiltered, and somehow deeper than you expected. Whether you're raising your kids, raising standards, or raising hell, this space is for you. So settle in. It's time to catch up. Welcome to the Catch Up with Claire. I'm your host, Claire Hoon, and this is April's solo episode. April's a big month. I'm an Aries baby. My daughter is an Aries baby, so it is both of our birthday months. And I will say it is actually April 1st. So we have entered officially the month of April. I've procrastinated this as long as possible. I sat down on Sunday to record this and just started crying and then talked about it in therapy on Monday and cried again. So I feel like the tears are out of me. I don't know. We'll find out. I just feel emotional about it. It's been such a joy, such a high of a year, this last baby. And I don't know why it feels like an ending versus a beginning. Something I was talking about in therapy was I remember the first birthday of my son and my oldest after I had come out of such severe postpartum depression, and it lasted till he was like 10 months old. Like it was more and less intense at different points of that first year. But really at 10 months was when I finally really felt like I came up for air and was ready to embrace this new motherhood identity. And so his first birthday felt like such a celebration for me, which is why I'm always, when we go to first birthday parties, I always bring something for the mom, and I always want to celebrate mom, because that first year of motherhood is a celebration of all you've done. Like it is so huge. No matter what your experience with it is, it's just a whole new thing you've never gone through and been part of. And it's just such an accomplishment. That first year of motherhood after my son felt like a celebration. I was excited to plan it wasn't even a party. It was just our families. And we went to Central Park. I had the woman who's done all of our family photos come. We got balloons. Did a little cake smash. And it felt whimsy. Like before that was even a word 7 years ago. It felt worth celebrating. And I just remember like feeling this high of, okay, I've got my sea legs. I'm ready to figure out what motherhood is all about. Like I was still very much deer in the headlights of what does motherhood look like from me here on out. Like at that point I was one and done because of what I had just went through, but I was ready to be into more of a young infant toddler phase than a newborn trenches, figuring out all the new things for the first time phase. With this baby, who I say is our caboose, our third and final baby, I knew that before getting pregnant. It has felt so different in every way. And I like feel the tears in the back of my eyeballs right now. In the best ways, like so many unexpected things, even with getting pregnant. Like we had talked about the timing for this baby, and thought, back when we started trying a while ago now, it would be a fall. I'd try and get pregnant in the fall to have another summer baby. Ended up getting pregnant right away, which I know is not everyone's experience. It was mine. And I immediately felt panic. Like instead of being excited about this baby that I knew I wanted, that we knew we had made the decision we wanted a third baby to round out our family, because we had made that decision, I thought, like I had this expectation of myself to be so excited that to find out I was pregnant, to do a cute little surprise for my husband. Like I'm 3 out of 3 calling him, crying, looking at a positive pregnancy test. And I just thought that by the third time, it would feel really exciting because I wanted this and was ready for it and was planning it. And it just didn't. This panic washed over me finding out, well, I actually found out in August that I was pregnant, um, but thinking that it would be a couple months later and like, oh my gosh, the plan is already gone awry. I started spinning out of, well, now I'm going to have an April and a spring baby instead of a summer baby. And what does this mean? Like, it means nothing. But that was where my brain was. And so it took a little bit, like from the beginning, my expectations of this one were off. Luckily, I'd been in therapy and haven't not left therapy for 7 years. And so rather quickly was able to work through some of those feelings of, you know, this isn't how I maybe planned this happening, but this is what I wanted. So even though it looks a little bit different, this is still a positive thing. And so I was able to work through some of that initial anxiety rather quickly, which felt like a win. To then be pretty quickly catapulted into the worst morning sickness I've experienced in any of my pregnancies. Like, of the three, this one was by far the worst. There was a 10-day stretch where, I kid you not, like, I don't know that my feet hit the floor. I was in bed, dead to the world, so nauseous, unable to do anything. Like, had my laptop in bed with me, and it was just a miserable experience. And yes, I tried everything and no, nothing worked. So if this is an experience that you know, then you know, and I'm so sorry because it can be grueling. I think I also had this idea from pregnancy that I knew what it would be like in my body because I had been through it twice before. And so with my first, I was really tired and occasionally nauseous, but like the emotional weight of pregnancy was the worst. With my second, I had really, really bad morning sickness a couple times, like on and off. And so like I would have like 2 to 3 really intense sick days, followed by like 2 to 3 to 5 days feeling totally fine, which actually fed my anxiety in an opposite way because it was such a pendulum swing so quickly that I ended up calling my doctor being like, I was so sick and now I'm not. Is this a pregnancy that's not viable? Is this a pregnancy that's ending because all of my symptoms are suddenly gone? And then I was actually spotting in that pregnancy as well. So ended up going and getting checked out and everything was fine. But I say that because I totally thought I had this pregnancy figured out of how my body would react. And lo and behold, third time round, and my body's doing something different again. And I was just constantly feeling awful and could not come out of it. Until I did around 15 weeks or so, which had maybe, let's do math, like maybe 5 to 10 weeks of feeling good. And then we got hit with, I had shingles, I had the flu, and I had COVID. And it was brutal. And so it just felt like, and all of that while also having 2 other kids who also brought home everything. So I had this expectation of going into pregnancy feeling like I'm ready to be this pregnant goddess that I expected of myself in my first 2 pregnancies. And I kept waiting for that fantasy to sort of like come true. Like, okay, now I'm through the morning sickness, so I'm ready to be a pregnant goddess. Never happened. I'm in the second trimester, so I'm ready for like this energy kick and feeling like I want to nest and get things together. Never happened. I'm in my third and final pregnancy, and so I'm ready to be celebrated. I want to sprinkle and I want to do all these things that I couldn't have or didn't feel accessible in my first 2 pregnancies and just never happened. And it was this constant tug of the fantasy that I was waiting to come true versus the reality, while also feeling like pregnancy has an expiration, and that is 9 months, sometimes shorter, but like, a full-term pregnancy, whenever it ends, it's going to end. Like, you are not going to be pregnant forever. And every day forward felt like facing something I wasn't ready to face, which was the last time I was going to be pregnant, the last time I was going to give birth. Here come the tears. The last time I was going to have a baby. And what did this mean? And not that it needed to mean anything, But I think as a third-time mom and going through this for a third time, what I know is that these are such fragile and special and what's the word for non-repeatable life experiences. Like, I can go and run and train for another marathon. I cannot go and have another baby without bringing a whole new human that I am then forever responsible for into this world. And so while I want it to be like not that deep, for me, like it kind of is. Like I've had these very experiences attached to motherhood and attached to pregnancy and attached to postpartum. And I kind of wish, I think there's just, you want to script it. Like you want to be able to script and prescribe the experience that you want and the fantasy that you dream of. And it's just constantly a humbling reminder that you can't. And that's what I've experienced. So everything from getting pregnant with this baby to the first year has just sort of taken me by surprise. And so while the pregnancy part was an emotional reckoning, the first year of her life has without a doubt been the most joyous and healthy year, honestly, of my life, which like sounds so big, but like really as an adult woman, this year has been so big for me. And she's really been an anchor in all of that. Man, I'm trying really hard not to get emotional. And something that keeps coming back to me, like just let me lean into my woo-woo side for a second here. On our 8-year wedding anniversary, I don't know what prompted me to do this, but like 9 months ahead of that, it was January, I guess 6 months. It was January, and I had found some psychic medium that I was like, I need to book this woman to do a reading. I was just going through a phase, and that's what I was into. So, like, save that for another episode. This woman had like a 6-month wait list. And so the first available was like late June. And then when I was playing around with dates, I was like, you know what, let's just push it into July rather than take the first available. And I was looking at her calendar and she had an opening on our wedding anniversary. And I was like, okay, let's do that. That like seems like, I don't know, let's just do it. So I booked it for our wedding anniversary, and this woman knew nothing about me other than my name, only my first name and my telephone number that she was going to call me on. And we get into it, and she was like, why is there love all around you? Like, I'm just screaming marriage. Are you engaged? And I was like, it's my wedding anniversary. She was like, my gosh, of course it is. Happy wedding anniversary. Are you pregnant? And I was like, no. I mean, we're trying. Like, we just decided we're going to start trying. And she was like, I don't know. I feel like you might be pregnant. Spoiler alert, I was pregnant. I just didn't know it yet. And so that, like, and I figured it out 2 or 3 weeks later is when I took a test. And there's something about this baby that just feels so sent from heaven. Here we go. I've been so close to my grandfather who passed away a couple years ago. And something that was really hard for me thinking about getting pregnant was that this would be the only baby that he wouldn't get to meet and that I wouldn't get to introduce to him. He was such a consequential father figure to me and informed the person that I am today and a lot of my core values. And how what's really important to me in creating a family is because of what conversations I got to have with him while he was still with us and how he treated me as a granddaughter. And so I believe without a doubt this baby was handpicked by him to be my baby. And if you don't believe that, that's fine, but I do, so let me go with it. When I was probably 8 months pregnant with her, we could not come up with a name. And we had like a short list and we had things we liked, but like naming all of our babies has just been like a task. And I woke up in the middle of the night and it was one of those moments you wake up and I was like, Duda is telling me to name this baby Stella. And I had the most and Duda is what I called my grandpa. And I had this vivid dream. Like, the dreams you have when it feels like it was real life. Like when I was pregnant with my middle baby, it was during the pandemic. We were living with my parents in Florida, and my grandparents also had a condo nearby that they were renting. And we had found out she was a girl, and like everybody's favorite activity is like, what are we going to name this baby? And when he found out it was a girl, he was like, Claire, you have to name her Stella. She's going to be a star. And I was like, oh, it's a pretty name. But it just like, it went in one ear and came out. But like the way he said it was so exuberant and so like, this is it. I have named her, like, you've got it. And like, to be honest, I didn't even consider it. Like, I was like, beautiful name, not going to be this baby's name. And it just nothing of it. So this night when I was 8 months pregnant, I woke up like I was in the house having that conversation with him again. And I woke up and it was like clear as day, like this baby's name is Stella. And it was a name we never discussed, never crossed my brain, was never like, would have never come up with it on my own. And I said to my husband, like, I know I need to approach this gently because I don't think you're going to be on board with this initially, but there is something in my body that is telling me this baby's name is Stella. Well, now I've told the whole internet, my baby's name is Stella. But it just felt so, I don't know, in the stars. And it brings me back to hearing this woman in July of 2024 saying, I think you're pregnant. I think you're having a baby. And I should also add that I got married on my grandparents' wedding anniversary. So it's just all very connected for me, which brings me to this first year of motherhood and the year that I've had being the most joyous of my life. And I feel like part of that is the gift that he's given me, to knowing what I've been through and knowing how hard my entry into motherhood was, how much I always wanted to be a mom. I have always wanted to be a mom, and I've always wanted a big family. And I think that's part of why the postpartum depression was so hard for me, was because it felt like this shattered dream that I wouldn't get to experience. And this year of motherhood has been everything I always dreamed it would be. I feel like I finally caught my stride as a mom of three, despite the utter chaos all the time. Like, there is never not chaos going on around me in everything we do and everywhere we go. Like, voices are loud, tensions are high, emotions are constantly up and down and all over the place of all of us. We are constantly running overstimulated. Like, there is no relaxation. There is no moments of quiet, peace, calm, any of that. And I love it. Like, I absolutely find it so delicious despite how exhausted and drained I am. I don't know how to explain it other than I feel like I'm finally exactly where I'm meant to be, doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing because of this gift of this year of motherhood and everything it has unlocked for me. And it just feels like the biggest blessing that I'm so, so, so grateful for. And I think the reason that I'm emotional about is because it feels like an ending, and I'm trying to re-script that. Like, I'm very much trying to be like, it's not an ending, because it's not. I know that, like, she's not going anywhere on her birthday. Like, she's just going to turn 1 and the world will keep spinning. But I think I feel an identity shift happening from a mom and a woman and a family that is having babies to a mom and a woman and a family that is raising babies, and moving out of that phase of creation of our family to living and raising our family. And it's a subtle shift, but it feels significant, closing the chapter of creating and adding to our family. Do I know without a doubt that I'll never have another baby, that we're done for sure? No, of course not. Do we plan to have another baby? No, not at this time. And I think part of, if I'm really, really honest with myself about a fourth baby, is I love the idea of it. I love the idea of, in this new capacity of motherhood that I found. I'm so curious what that would look like for me getting pregnant again and having another baby in our family. And what could I tap into and what could I unlock and what would that mean? And the deliciousness of newborn snuggles and cuddling another baby and kind of the softness that comes along with being. I mean, it's not always soft. I'm talking about the fantasy side of it here. Like, there's this, I think I will forever have this belief that the pregnancy fantasy that I want to exist for me exists somewhere outside of a fantasy. Knowing what I know, and the reality is, no, we're not going to have another baby. And again, if I'm really honest, like, I don't have it in me to give my body another pregnancy and my emotional capacity to pour into another baby. Like, I kind of wish I could, but I just don't think I have that, at least with what I have in front of me right now. And so that's the truth about a fourth baby. I think I'll always wonder. I mean, maybe not always. I think for a while I'll wonder. I turned 34 this month. I very well can be fertile for several more years. And the reality is I could have another baby. But I think in some ways I actually feel ready to tackle this next phase of life of what does life beyond being pregnant and postpartum and adding humans to our family look like? Like, I feel curious about it and also nervous in a way that, like, I haven't been here in my adult life. Since I've started having kids, it's always been planning around the next one. Do I go for the promotion at work? Do I hold back a little bit? Can I commit to doing these things in life because there is another baby on the horizon for us? And I've been in this cycle for almost 8 years now. And so it feels a little bit scary to be going on a new path, a new journey without that. I don't want to say blocker because it wasn't a blocker, but without accounting for that in our life and in the bandwidth that I need to reserve if I were to get pregnant because of everything I talked about of being sick and the emotional side and adding another person, all these things. Taking that off, I now have space for a lot more, but I don't know that I know what that a lot more is. I mean, I have some ideas. I'm still really excited about growing this podcast, about the connections I'm making through social media on putting together a living room where women can get together and share the experiences that we're going through at different phases of womanhood. So I'm definitely really excited about the possibilities and creating. And it's a new frontier for me. So that's a brain dump of what's on my mind on the first day of April. One thing I do feel ready for that has surprised me is weaning from breastfeeding. I talked about it a lot this weekend with my husband because I thought that once she turns 1 this month, I'll try and wean from pumping and go to just a morning and night breastfeeding schedule, which I feel like isn't really, I don't know that it would work or not, but I don't know that I want it to. I feel like her nighttime feeding is really to pacify her and feed her to sleep rather than really getting much nutrition out of it. And I am so ready to sleep again. It has been such a long year. Like, she has been by far the worst sleeper of the babies. And the lack of sleep is really, really impacting both my husband and I. And so we've identified, like, we need to get her into a better sleeping schedule. And all she wants when she wakes up in the middle of the night, like, the only thing, like, that will pacify her is me. And so we need to really cut that connection. I'm ready to cut that connection. So it's kind of giving me a little proof point of, like, when I'm ready, I'll get there. And it's been a year and I'm ready. And so I'm getting there. I know that her birthday is going to be emotional for me. I'm accepting that and I'm letting it be. Like, it's okay. She's not going to remember her first birthday. I will remember judging myself and feeling shame about the feelings that I'm having if I try and pretend I'm having a different experience than I am. I'm not even going to say I'm excited for one yet because, like, let's be honest, I'm not. I'm having a lot of complicated feelings about no longer being a family with a baby. Um, and what does that look like and what does that mean? I mean, like nothing. It means we're not a baby with a family. We're going to get more freedoms back as she continues to get older. And I do remind myself that with my other two, 12 to 18 months is one of my favorite phases because they're a little bit mobile, but they're still restrainable. um, they're exploring. Everything is new and everything is so exciting, and they're so genuinely excited and curious about exploring, and they don't know enough yet to have opinions. And so it's like once they hit 18 months, they start getting their preferences and opinions and their likes and dislikes. But we're like entering this phase where she's just going to be a little sponge absorbing life around her. And so I'm excited to observe that, to see that. I'm still taking it day by day for me. Like it's not as if like anything major is changing. It's just I feel on the cusp of this identity shift, and I am curious to see where it leads. With that, what else do I have to share with you for this month? Oh, challenge of March, check mark box complete. Last month, I told you about my clearing the counter challenge, and here's what I've learned. Being an adult kind of sucks. Like, I thought it would be one of those habits and challenges that once you get into, it kind of became like clockwork and it would just kind of like check itself off. Like, no, that was not it. Like, every single night, I had to force myself to clear the counter. I had to say, you committed to doing this, woman up, clear the counter. It's going to take you 10 to 15 minutes, but like, let's go, let's do it. And I did it. There were a couple times that we had strep, and then noro took our family out. And so there were a couple nights of sickness where I was like, it's just not happening. But I'd say 27 out of the 31 days of March, our counters were clear, thanks to me, myself, and I. And that was no small feat, but it felt good to have clear counters. It did not feel good clearing the counters. But I'm habit stacking this into April, where I want to keep clearing the counters and then move that to our kitchen table as well. And because I am not solely responsible for our household, I engage my husband. So we are now both clearing the common living space. So we agreed that for the month of April, we are going to spend 15 to 20 minutes together clearing the counters in the kitchen table, and our little open area where we dump all of our packages. So every night we're going to do it together because we are both responsible for this household, and we both just want the visual clutter put away. And it just adds up. Like if something sits on the kitchen table or on like packages build up, they sit there until the weekend, and then it just keeps adding, and the stress levels just rise. So no one else is here to do this for us. We do not have fairy god people cleaning our apartment and putting away our packages and answering our mail. I wish I could gift that to anyone, but I would start with myself. But we're going to be our own little fairy god people clearing out our living room. So I'll let you know in May how that goes. We are heading tomorrow for Easter with our families, and then over to New Orleans for my sister-in-law's wedding, which I am so excited about. If you've been following along on the bachelorette party activities, on my wedding dress saga, which, oh my gosh, I have to go pick that up from the seamstress. Thank goodness I said that out loud. We'll see how my dress turns out, but a lot of fun and exciting things happening for us in April. And I will be announcing my mini series of events happening here in New York City in May this month. So if you are local, I hope I will get to meet you in person. I hope you will partake, and we'll talk about that in May's solo episode. I think that's all the updates I have for you. If you're in a season of finding a new identity for yourself, transitioning into a new phase of womanhood, transitioning in or out of a phase of motherhood that you've been in, just know that I'm going through that with you as well. I'm figuring it out in real time. And this is what it looks like talking about it as we're going through it. Reach out. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to hear about your experience. And I'd love for us to go through this together because we're not meant to go through it alone. With that, I hope you enjoyed this solo episode. Be kind, be brave, and stay safe out there. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Catch Up with Claire. If you did, I would so appreciate if you subscribe, follow, rate, and comment wherever you're listening from. Share it with someone else you think might enjoy listening. This is how I can continue to have these conversations and bring these conversations to you. Until next time, be kind, be brave, and be safe out there.